Happy Democracy Day to you.
Nigerians are not too happy with the performance of the Super Eagles. Yes, it's Democracy Day today. Nigerians expect that hopefully we'll be able to compensate Nigerians with the qualification of, the Super Eagles to the next World Cup.
Nigerians have good reason not to be happy. In fact, even as Sports Development Minister, I'm about the most unhappy person. And steps are being taken to see how much we can reassure Nigerians about the fact that in spite of how slim the chances are, that everything is going to be done. I mean, tomorrow, for example, the ministry has an engagement with the officials of the NFF and the technical team and all of that. And all of this is to try to see how the best response that we can make ahead of the next qualification matches that are starting in March next year.
So you want to comment on Nigeria's democracy? 25 years of stability, 25 years of democracy.
I mean, 25 years and counting. I mean, this is historic. I mean, especially given our past history and record in terms of democracy, within certain military takeovers and all of that. The fact that this democratic dispensation has been sustained for 25 years and counting gives us all the more reason why we should gather here in celebration, in spite of the not very good times, that the country is faced with. But, I mean, with the hope, the kind of leadership that is being provided by our president gives everybody a lot of hope that we're actually in the good direction.
So, if I may ask, because, in our democracy, nothing has united us more than sports.
That's correct.
It's a one thing whether you're from the northeast, west, or south, we're all excited about. What more are you looking to do in that regard to ensure that, sports continues to unite us and that area, segment of the country is developed?
I mean, so far, especially under this present, administration of President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, sports has continued to more than play that role. It has from day one. I mean, a lot of firsts have been recorded. There are a lot of landmark decisions that have been taken. I mean, the only downside is because of the outcome of the last two World Cup qualification matches in football. And I think that, the officials and the administrators of football more than realize so, that especially at moments like this, when the government is trying to get us through very tough and difficult times, that sports and especially football should come in handy. And I think that everybody is trying to make sure that continues to remain the case.
How about other sports? I think for the first time we're going to have badminton represented in the Olympics. I saw that someone is going to go for the Olympics for badminton. Are we looking to expand this to other sports beyond football?
I mean, other sports are doing pretty good. I mean, is it athletics? You just talked about badminton. A few days ago, we had the first female who qualified for the high jump. That's the first time it was qualified in several years. So sport by sport, a lot of progress is being made. We are top there. I mean, the only thing that tends to doubt that a bit is because of the great followership that football has in Nigeria. But even in football, after more than 16 years, the female national team, the Super Falcons, have qualified for the Olympics. So you can go on and on. I mean, a few days ago, both the Senate and the House of Reps passed for the first time in more than 20 years the anti-doping bill, which has continued to be a challenge to our country's sportsmen and women in terms of our relationship with the World Athletic, Doping Agency.
Honourable Minister, I want to thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your time.
Again, sports unites us all. You saw what happened during the Cup of African Nations,
yes,
where we came second, sadly, yes, but it was a good place to also emerge. Other countries dropped out, but
we don't talk about our fault lines when it comes to sports. When it's when they're playing,
we don't talk about team. Perhaps we should bring all of that into how we support that country as well.
It's not about perfection of this democracy right now. It's not that all is well. It's not as if everything is going on well in the country. But while we are looking at the tough side, we are looking at the bright side of democracy, saying that look, we are not there yet. 34% inflation, we are not there yet. The level of unemployment, poverty, and everything, we are not there yet. Economically, we are not there yet.
Yes.
But then we still have democracy to nurture.
For every system of government, the expectation is that you provide public goods, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's health, whether it's education. But democracy experts will tell you that democracy is your only system of government where you can hold government accountable and then you can speak up.
Yes.
I mean, that's what democracy does for you. You know, and that's something that, you know.
During the military, during the military rule, there was no freedom of speech, no freedom of
assembly.
expression. People got missing after speaking up. Don't forget, you know, the likes of Frank Kokori of the National Union of
who passed recently.
You know, Nupeng at that time. And don't forget a lot of people that they were actually charged for sedition. A lot of people were charged for treason because of speaking up, you know,
absolutely,
against the, the military junta of the day.
The freedom of expression, the freedom of assembly, civil liberties, press freedom. You know, we are doing this now. It's also press freedom that, you know, we're enjoying in a democracy. You're not guarded as to what to say.
At that time, we didn't have the deregulation of the broadcast sector. I grew up as a young man that we wait for the Nigerian Television Authority, 4 p.m.
Oh, really? Because somebody made a joke earlier, and they said you were a journalist. In 1993, I'm like, how old is Ayo? But that's a joke. All right,
so my prime, brother. I noticed when the likes of Khalifa Omoyele Show and Segun Mayegun, when they will always go to Yaba and that Yaba area to push for the annulment of that particular election. There will be tear gas, and I witnessed that as a young man and not as a journalist.
Perhaps you should write your own book of what you witnessed. All right, so far we've seen the arrival of the Inspector General of Police, the Chief of Defense Staff, the Chief of Army Staff, the Chief of Naval Staff, and that's all the service chiefs,
permanent
secretaries.
And the Director General. All the federal ministries are parastatal to, you know, ongoing right now.
Absolutely.
Their arrival.
And then the Speaker of the House of Representatives, the President of the Senate, the CGN as well, the Vice President, and then the President. All of the yes, and that's the beauty of democracy. And so we're expecting all of those arrivals, and they will all be received by the Commander Guards Brigade. He will herald, you know, their arrival, and then again in the course. In the course of it all, we're going to, you know, also hear the Guards Brigade bagpiper. Also, the Guards Brigade bagpiper also play.
World's largest.
Yes, the world's largest painting. Oh, absolutely! Please,
let's have it.
I have been looking at that and wondering what it means.
Hello, what's your name?
My name.
Okay, what's this?
It's a painting portrait on canvas. The largest painting portrait on canvas, measured 64 by 32 feet.
How did you get to know that it's the largest?
Yes, there is a current record of a painting, but not portraits. So this is the first. This is a new record of a portrait.
Can we get your name again? I know you said
Opeyemi Alaba. Olaore is my name.
What inspired this?
Hope. Nigerians, we are so resilient people. Nigerians, we don't give up. And on the background of the portrait of Queen Elizabeth, the portrait of Barack Obama, I looked at it as Nigerians, coupled with my friend Toyin Jinodu, Adele, Oladipupo. We came together to sit down and say, we should also have an image that can be a symbol of hope for us. There should be a platform for us to say, oh, indeed, there is something we should talk about in Africa, not just Nigeria. We profiled politicians in Nigeria. We profiled great individuals. We looked at who is that person that started from a very humble beginning and now is up there, who had crossed through hurdles, and then we came up with an individual which will be unveiled. And so on this premise, we said, let's come together and do this. Also, looking at the current...
How many of you?
37 of us. Yes. One person representing each state and the Federal Capital Territory. And we looked at it considering the reality on ground in the country, the economic situation. What can we also do to contribute to the society? If we have this painting, the portraits, we have a lot of individuals that we can put together who would say we are buying this portrait. And we know it. The previous government, the current government, they are doing a lot of beautiful humanitarian services. This can contribute to humanitarian services.
So you're looking to sell it?
we are selling, and the proceeds is going to 250,000 Nigerians.
250,000.
On monthly basis, our intention is to give 50,000 naira to Nigerians by dividing it from June to October. When this portrait will be getting the world largest from the international record, book record, Guinness World Record, worldwide record, and also at that time it will be regarded as the most expensive painting portrait in the world. So our intention is to do the intervention, and on monthly basis for accountability, we will publish the names of those who benefit on dailies. These are the plans that we have.
Do you have a price? Let me see if Ayo can afford it. Let's see if Ayo can afford it. Do you have a price in mind?
No. We believe Nigerians are humanitarians. Nigerians,
They'll come out.
They will come out for
stand
peace.
Don't worry, Ayo is your first bidder. I trust that. Thank you so much. Thank you. This is a novel record you're starting. Thank you so much. I'm sure we'll see it unveiled later and we'll see what's behind that curtain. Thank you for your time.
Talking about a nation with talented people
Absolutely.
all around.
Absolutely.
Are you talking about Scrabble? Are you talking about we are going to dominate that Guinness, Guinness Book of Records?
You know the spirit of Nigerians.
Yes.
One person starts it, everybody's inspired by it. Yes,
in the next 10 years, just watch out for us.
Absolutely. This is, 37 people came together to do this. Talk about unity, Ayo. He said 37 people did it. A representative from each state and the federal capital territory. It also speaks to a unity. I like the thought and the thinking behind it to ensure that it also encapsulates the idea of unity and democracy.
It's novel. Quite novel.
It is.
So, we're still on to the live transmission of our Democracy Day Parade. 25th.
Absolutely.
25th anniversary parade program holding here at Eagle Square in Abuja. And I told you earlier that this year's theme is 25 years of enduring democracy. Prospect for the future.
Absolutely, Ayo. A lot to look forward to today. I know there will be entertainment. Usually, we used to have the national troupe, I think, at some point, but I don't know if they will be here today, Ayo. But I also know that the bagpipers will actually be playing, so we'll enjoy all of that as well. Not just parade alone, but there will also be, some entertainment at some point.
Yep. So we are going to have the Brigade of Guards, and the President is going to inspect the Guards of Honor.
Yes.
And the high point of today is, when the President will be making his entry here today, and the program will be kicked off.
Absolutely. And when it comes, we will then see, the parade begin in slow and quick march. But I also wanted to, talk about that speech, MKO Abiola's speech during that, the famous Ekpetedo speech.
Yes, Ekpetedo declaration.
Declaration, rather.
The Ekpetedo declaration was what led to was the beginning of the problem for MKO Abiola. We also have Honorable Tuwashe Obunde. He was a parliamentarian in the Third Republic.
Wow.
Tell us about that Third Republic.
Well, we are here because of that. Because June 12, 1993, that's where all this came from. Then we were in the House of Representatives, sworn in for about 11 months. But then the election was annulled and were sent off. And for that reason, because the president himself was in that parliament, he knows that the elections were free and fair. The people expressed themselves. And because of that, he would always like the nation to remember that date is very significant because Nigerians went out, they expressed themselves in the freest and fairest elections that was ever done. So we represent a symbol of that time when we were then in the House of Representatives. We were young people then, now we are old people, but we were then in the House of Representatives for 11 months before we were sent packing. So today is very significant for us because it reminds us about one Nigerian's Day.
Okay.
So we're very proud.
Want to thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Want to thank you.
Look,
Thank you.
there's a deal. I want to
All right. So, you know, speaking to
the Minister of
is here.
Minister of Finance, Mr. Wale Edun. How are you, sir? Struggle.
Good to have you. Happy Democracy Day.
June 12, 1993, I was lining up to vote. Option A4, I believe it was then. So I voted on that day. I remember that day very well. It was a very historic day when we voted.
As a close associate of the president, Mr. President, I know that he was neck deep involved in, the struggle. What role did you play there?
Well, we all know the relationship he played. At that time, I remember that he had opted to leave the business sector and enter into politics. And of course, once the election was held and the result was not released, he joined the struggle and he was at the forefront of the struggle. He suffered for the struggle, and at the end of the day, it is very ironic that today is Democracy Day. Today marks the real essence of democracy, which is government of the people, for the people, and by the people. But it is not easily won. It is fought for. As Mr. President always says, power is not served a la carte. And so we congratulate all Nigerians on this democracy, which has endured for 25 years, and we look forward to it enduring for much, much longer, based on all our efforts.
Okay, as we're celebrating 25 years of unbroken democracy, Nigerians are not happy in the sense that economically, people want money in the pockets, people want to buy food, they want to go down, and you, as the Minister of Finance, you are the coordinating minister. So, what are you doing to ease the pains of Nigerians?
What I would say is this: despite all the measures and all the economic analysis and so forth, the concentration now, the effort now, and the focus now is on providing relief for Nigerians, food relief, direct payments to them, and also for the oncoming planting season, fertilizer and other inputs for small farmers. So the concentration now is helping Nigerians with the cost of living. All the other things are on track, but we must now focus on what we call the social safety net, providing money to Nigerians to buy food and providing food itself to Nigerians. That is the short term, because there is a really serious situation regarding nutrition and regarding food, and that's what we are concentrating on.
Do you have a timeline of turning the curve?
I would say, and in all honesty, in a way, the curve has been turned, but what matters is the timeline in which Nigerians feel the benefit. And that is what we're concentrating on. And the sooner the better. We have to deliver, and we have to deliver very, very quickly, and we are very aware of that. Mr. President has empathy, and everybody knows from his background that he feels for the common man. He promised that he would not leave the poor and the vulnerable to their fate. And it's up to us to make sure he keeps that promise. Thank you.
And just a minute, sir. Just a minute, sir. One more issue, sir. We can quickly just take one more issue with you, because you talked about the president, and the common man. Issue of the minimum wage is still there. We know that it's not, the buck now stops on the president's table. How committed is the president to raising it beyond, the figures on the table?
I think what Mr. President has to do, and he's looking at, is that he's taking all shades of opinion, all inputs, not just from labor, but from the private sector, from the state governors, and even the local governments. And
religious leaders, traditional rulers, they have all had input, and he's taking all that into account while he decides what to present to the National Assembly as the new minimum wage bill. But definitely, he has the interest of workers at heart.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
We have the Honorable Minister of Budget and Planning.
Absolutely.
His Excellency, former governor of Kebbi State.
It's no coincidence that we're speaking with the people who are responsible for our economy. Happy Democracy Day. What matters to Nigerians? I mean, one of the things we're talking to the Minister of Finance about as well, is that beyond Democracy Day, democracy to a lot of Nigerians is food on the table. What can we expect from now? Are things going to turn around?
They are turning around because more than anything else, we have decided that let us confront our reality. We didn't take choices that we needed to take long time ago. 25 years ago, when the Third Republic unfolded, Nigeria's population was about 119 million. Today is about 230 million. So our population have doubled. If you take many of our indices, oil production, which was 2.2 million in 1999, is now somewhere about 1.6, 1.7. So rather than doubling for a population that has doubled, comedy of errors, decisions that have been delayed has made us to underinvest. And now President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu came in with mandate from all Nigerians and said, look, let us confront our reality. Let us put place a sustainable macroeconomic reform that will ensure that we continue to generate more investment that can fund our priorities, whether it's education, health, social services, infrastructure, and all those things that are needed to take Nigeria to its place of pride among the Committee of Nations. Choice for a responsible leader sometimes may involve difficulties and pain, but they needed to be taken. But we are not unmindful. That's why, as part of the reforms, we ensure that we are paying attention to those who have been disproportionately affected by the reforms. But as Bishop Matthew Kuka, in a visit to Mr. President, said, first, we are being unfair if we want to assess President Bola Ahmed Tinubu after 1 year.
Thank you so much for your time, Honorable Minister. Pleasure having you on. Thank you. All right.
25 years of democracy. We are the Honorable Wale Oshun. Honorable Wale Oshun.
Yes, happy Democracy Day, sir. Happy Democracy Day.
I should say congratulations to you, sir.
Yes, happy celebrations. How do you feel? I mean, just looking at it all, the pomp, the pageantry, the speech, June 12th becoming Democracy Day. How does it make you feel?
Well, very exciting and really satisfied that the struggle has not been in vain, and that even those who laid down their lives, who in the process lost their lives, I think there's some kind of consolation, even though there will still be a need for the president to identify those ones, to honor them posthumously, but it's quite satisfactory. It is satisfactory that this is taking place in our lifetime. It is. And that one of those who led the struggle is the president of the country. It is satisfactory.
I want to know the direct role you played for the actualization.
Well, you know, I was the chief whip in the preceding legislative house, and I became later the secretary of NADECO after Ayo Badokun was incarcerated in Ekanu prison, and I was also incarcerated in Ikoyi prison, and thereafter left for exile and became the secretary of NADECO abroad as well. And we, of course, everybody worked together, including the sitting president, Governor John Oyegun, former governor of Edo State. late Commodore Dan Suleiman, quite a number of people come together and sacrificed. Pariwani, of course, lost his life in the process. And I think, and Kudirat Abiola, quite a number of people lost their lives. People who are not sons, who lost their lives on the Korodu Road. And a few people who also lost their lives that we are aware of. But we thank God that the President is the head of government and the head of this country at this critical moment. We just hope that, of course, the labor, those who struggled, it's not in vain. And Nigeria can become the center that we all, dreamt of it. We're still a lot far from that dream, but we do hope that we'll work towards that.
But has any progress been made? When you look from 1993 to now, have we made any progress at all?
No. Well, if you are talking of progress, you see, a part of the struggle arose because of the inequity in terms of the Constitution, which we felt was entirely a military entrapment, and that there's a need to rework that Constitution. To that extent, I think a lot of